Hey, you
Hey, what's
guys.
going on?
We are back with another video. Hope that you guys can join us on tonight. Tonight, we have a new topic, and we hope that you guys have been enjoying all the other videos that have been going on. Day one, if you missed it, go back and watch it. It was over communication. Day two was over understanding differences in the different personalities of a relationship.
Yeah.
And so, Rock and I are sharing how we are reaching for our relationship goals in 2019. So, we thought we would share those with you. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Okay, so you guys, let me just tell y'all what's going on because like if we're gonna really do this, then I just need to be myself, and I'm just not feeling very well today. and, and I've really been like the struggle bus today, like for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. So
So,
anyway, so tonight, you want to tell them what we're talking about?
on tonight,
On today,
on tonight,
on
we're
today.
talking about not letting things from your past, meaning previous relationships or things like that, interrupt what you have going on in your present or possibly your future.
Hey.
Meaning not dragging things or letting things hold you back or keep you from what's right in front of you. So, kind of let Trey kick that off.
Okay, so thanks, Rock.
I
Okay,
did just kind of throw
so
you out there, didn't I?
so we were just kind of talking about like just kind of in the beginning. I feel like we're kind of a lot more settled in our relationship now. It's been a year, and but in the beginning, just like as you get to know each other, and as those things come up, that you may not know about each other, you just kind of work through those things, and so. Obviously, I have shared with you guys that I was, in a relationship previous, to Rock and I reuniting. And Rock was too. He was in a relationship, a very long relationship before, us too. And so, one thing that we had to work through was not bringing, things from those old relationships into this relationship. And it was hard, it was, difficult at times. But one thing that you know, I just remember working on is, just again communicating with each other. And I just kind of remember that we used to always have this little thing where we would, if we didn't like something, we would just tell each other right then, and we would be like, I don't like that. I don't like that. And when he would tell me something like that, or when I would tell him, we would sit there and we would work on it right then. But when those things would come up, that made me feel uncomfortable or kind of would make me feel, you know, um, maybe remind me of something, we just kind of would deal with it right then.
Yeah. So, nobody wants to be in a position where they're having to re-experience
It's Roundsy.
what's up, roundsies. Nobody wants to go through, have to experience things that they went through in their previous relationships that caused them pain or caused them distress, things of that nature. And one of the things that we do naturally as a defense mechanism is we say, and everybody's been here, I'm never going to allow that to happen to me again. But sometimes when you take that stance and you say, I'm never going to allow that to happen to me again, now, if you're not careful, you begin to look for things in the new relationship that reminds you about anything that happened in your previous relationships. And sometimes you're not allowing the good to come out in the relationship because you're looking for the bad. And it becomes an unconscious thing because you're like, okay, I'm not going to get treated like this. I'm not going to get treated like that. If this person doesn't do this, I'm going to let them know. If this person doesn't do that, I'm going to let them know. And I'm not going to stand for this or I'm not going to stand for that. And a lot of times when you're looking for those things, it could be just something that reminds you of the person that you were previously with or previously dating. It could be a smile, it could be a gesture, it could be a smell, it could be
Yeah,
something that they eat,
it's real.
and then you're right back in that moment. We kind of talked about the other day, having scars, and even though those scars are healed, you know how you got those scars, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to put myself in a position to get scarred like that again. And I think that's natural for anybody. So you have to be very careful about how you go into a new relationship, thinking about or having expectations and saying or not shouldn't say expectations, excuse me, putting limitations on what your relationship is going to be based off of what you just came out of. So case in point, myself, I struggled with just issues of trust or feeling like you never could do enough. So sometimes how that would manifest itself in a negative way, I would try to go and do too much and reach too much, and then it's like, okay, I don't need to do that because one, your partner's gonna be like, okay, why are you doing all this? What do you? They could take it two ways. Like, this is great. I'm getting everything I want. Or they could take it another way and say, why is he doing all this or why she's doing all this? What are they trying to hide? What are they trying to mask? And then in yourself, you might feel like, okay, here we go again. I'm down this same road, trying to do instead of just letting things kind of naturally happen,
Right.
and then naturally saying or saying, you know what, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I'm not comfortable with. This is where I've been. So help me get to where a point. You have to talk to your partner about these things, and again, it makes you have to be vulnerable. And I think that's the spot that nobody wants to be back in,
I,
especially if you were in a relationship that had some ups and downs. You don't
yeah.
want to put yourself in a vulnerable position to be exposed and experience those things again.
I definitely think that you have like seriously found a balance when it comes to that, because I could see in the beginning where that was a problem for you, and you were kind of just giving it your all instead of finding that realistic balance of life of, oh, okay, I can live here, you know what I mean, to where you didn't wear yourself out, you know, giving too much and not receiving, and I think that is something also that is different a little, that has been different for Rock and has been good for both of us, is that this isn't just one-sided, and I think in the beginning, I remember when I would give when I would give Rock, things, or even sometimes, you guys, like if we were out at a restaurant and I would offer to treat, it was something he couldn't handle. It was just too much. And I just didn't understand. I was just like, Rock, this is okay. You know, I, it wasn't the part. I don't know, maybe you can explain yourself a little more, but I know that it's something that you did work on, and you had to get a lot, comfortable and find a place of comfort for that. But that was something that was very, very hard for him to receive, on the other end. That I remember when I bought him a Bible and some markers. And his first response was almost like he had to process, like, this is for me. Like, yes. But just getting used to that this relationship is not just about him giving to me, which he has given me so much. But at the same time, and that's why I think that we work so well, because we are a lot alike. But I'm a giver too, and so I would give to him, and he just had to find that place that this is okay.
Yeah, I think for me what it was I've always been a doer. So when you do things, you don't necessarily think about what you're doing. You just doing what's necessary for the situation. And that's one way that I've lived my life. That's one way I've been successful at the things that I've done in my life, is going out and just doing what was necessary to take care of business. And I think the other thing too was not knowing that in some instances I had subscribed to some gender roles that maybe I had seen growing up, or maybe I had seen on TV or wherever it is. You see those things, and you're like, okay, this is what I have to meet this certain standard. And then you trying to meet that certain standard, you start to get outside of yourself, or you start to not being open to different ways things can happen and unfold in the relationship. And I think that's another point of contention sometimes in relationships is subscribing to certain gender roles that are out there where one being oh one's the woman's supposed to clean the house and cook the meals and things like that, right? And the guy's not supposed to be in the kitchen, but he's supposed to fix stuff around the house and he's supposed to take care of the garbage, supposed to take care of the cars, things like that. And we've all been exposed to those different gender roles, and I think that it becomes easy to get stuck in those gender roles when you're not reminded, or that maybe this can be a little bit different, or maybe you're doing a little bit too much, or hey, let's talk about what our relationship needs to look like instead of what we both know other relationships to look like, or other
What we
things that
saw.
we've been through in our lives. So it's really important to understand kind of where you're at, and like I said, not wanting to bring things from your past into your new relationship. But let's be honest, whatever you're looking for, you're gonna find it. If you're looking for the good in something, you're gonna find the good in something. If you're looking for the bad in something, you're gonna find the bad in something. And if you don't understand that you're doing those things, sometimes you do it and you don't even think about it, and that can very negatively impact your relationship, because especially if it's brand new, or even if you've been in it once, like, okay, where is this coming from? Is this not the person that I've known for these months or for these years? Or then if at the beginning, like, hold on, I don't even want to get to know that person because off top you put me off by just some of the things you said or done or compared me to, previous things, and I'm not that. And why do you keep trying to do that to me? So you have to be careful with what you bring in, and it's really really hard because we are creatures of experience. That's the best thing that we have to go off of, is the things that we've been through. Nobody goes into something like, hey, everything's going to be great. You go through like, okay, I've been through this, I've seen this, I've heard about this, oh, my friend told me about this, and this is what to look out for. So unfortunately, a lot of things that we've learned have been off or been altered by people that aren't us, that don't necessarily have an influence in our day to day. And even if they do, their situation isn't your situation. So sometimes we project what other people say or what other people feel from their situation into our situations, and that can be a huge downfall and speed bump in trying to grow and develop in your relationship.
Okay, so while you were talking, just one thing that I just comes to mind that is just so huge, and I think that it is such a major factor in moving on in a relationship and not allowing your past to dictate your future, to be a part of your present, is forgiveness. You know, and when I say forgiveness, I mean forgiveness of where you just came from, the relationships from your past, and whether it was a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, what I've noticed is that in the beginning of our relationship, I feel that there was more things that I had to deal with here, and more things that Rock would talk with me and help me work through. Just kind of reminding me, Trey, this is this, Trey, this is that. It's okay. This is okay. And this, just kind of reassuring me in the relationship. But I noticed that it was during the time that I still had unforgiveness for that, for the other party, from the relationship that I had came from, And so as I worked through that, I noticed that as I began to forgive, the other, um, my past relationship, things got a lot easier. Things got a lot smoother for me. Things start to make a whole lot of sense. And it just, started to work itself out when I wasn't holding on, to some of the, things that really, really hurt me, and really, just kind of had my mind, bound in just that battle that you have in your mind constantly, when you are dealing with unforgiveness. Um, but just working through that, I can see that I'm an easier person to deal with now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm just fine.
Oh my gosh! What to say?
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
not supposed to happen on
I
camera.
had to do something. No,
I am
absolutely. You
easier.
are much easier,
I am.
I think also with that unforgiveness, a lot of times when we have that unforgiveness, we also get self righteous, and we say, well, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or I did this, or I did that, and whatever you came from, you were a couple, so it shouldn't have been I, it should have been we. Now there's, like I said, there's gonna be situations that don't work out. Obviously, we wouldn't be here if our situations had worked out. So that's not saying that at all. But when you start to get self-righteous and start to and just blame the other person for everything that happened, and not taking some responsibility and accountability for things that happen and transpired in a relationship, I think that's very detrimental going into a new relationship, because now you're bringing the thing like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so now it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. So now if things come up again, it's like, okay, well, it wasn't me again, and why do I keep getting done like this? And sometimes when that happens, we don't take a look at ourselves. We keep looking at the other person when really there's some things that we could have done better or addressed in a better fashion to
Yep.
get a better result. So that's one piece of it. Forgiveness, not getting self righteous and saying, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it was them, and I did this or I did that. So those are some things you want to steer away from, and make sure that you communicate those things. And a lot of what we're talking about obviously comes from the big ones. Cheating, lying, stealing, things like that. Things that come out that when you find out, you're like blown away. Like, okay, I thought we wouldn't be at this spot, but obviously you end up there. So like I said at the beginning, who wants to go through those things again and again and again? Nobody wants to. So we begin to put up walls, and we begin to put up barriers instead of building bridges and trying to connect. We build up and keep ourselves secluded.
So just moving forward, just in our present. So what would you have to say as far as like, um, what key factors do you think that is important as far as just moving forward and focusing just on the present? Like for instance, we used to talk about our past a lot, and talking about our past, it kind of, I would notice, kind of bring us down a little bit. It's not. It was sad. Back in 1998 when we had to go our separate ways. It was a sad day. It wasn't just like and so I know that we kind of got in a place in a season where we were hung up talking about it and talking through some things, but it came to a point one day when you just said, "Let's just not discuss it anymore." Why did you do that?
Um, because it brings up memories and things that at that time I don't think I was in that moment. I couldn't have capably verbalized what that was, because a lot of times when we feel anger, hurt, pain, we associate that with certain words or certain feelings and emotions, and when those things go too high or too hot, those things end up coming out our mouths, and it may come out in a way that it wasn't intended to come out. But again, kind of checking yourself. And I think one of the keys and one of the things that I learned, a while ago, is when dealing with people, you have to meet them where they're at, not where you think they should be, not where you want them to be, not where age-wise they ought to be, but you have to meet them exactly where they're at. And I think when you're able to meet people where they're at, and say, okay, I understand this is where you're at, and this is where I need to meet you at, or this is what I need to do because you're in this location. It doesn't mean they're always going to be there. It doesn't mean they're always going to stay there, but you're meeting them there to help move them along, to help inch them to get closer and build more trust and say, okay, yep, I was in this spot, but you helped me work through that. So now I'm in a different location, and I'm able to work better with you and hear more and be able to express more what's going on with me, and be able to kind of look at myself and say, okay, well, you know what, I did this or I did that, or this is what's going on. Because when when you're in a spot of like hurt, pain, confusion, frustration, a lot of times that's so cloudy you don't know which way is the right way. All these emotions kind of balled up into one thing, and you're like, okay, well, why aren't you here? Well, it can manifest itself in a sense like say Trey and I were dating, like, hold on, well, I'm not him. Okay, well, I may not be him, but she still might be in the place where she's hurting. So for me to say I'm not him, she hears that, but that might not register because then it's like, okay, well, I'm still, there's still something there going on with me. Why can't you, kind of talk and meet my needs where I'm at, and then help me to get out of this? Because sometimes when we're in it, let's be honest, we don't know how to get out ourselves. Because if we
Right.
did, we would get out, right? So it's about talking. It's about knowing that person, knowing where they're at, knowing what they need, and then providing those things to them to help them move forward and to help you guys move forward as a couple.
It's good. It's good. Well, you guys, we thank you guys. We see all y'all in here, and it says rocking with Trey is sending
Yeah,
comments. That's
that's
Zoe. Zoe
Zoe.
has my phone. We see Sarah on there. Hi,
My
Sarah.
man Rounds.
Yeah, Uncle Shine, Ramsey. Thank you guys for
I'll
tuning
throw it up for my
in.
man. They big hire down there.
Hi, Zoe.
Manny.
Well, you guys will be here again tomorrow. And we'll have another topic to discuss. Thank you guys for sharing and joining in this time with us. Hope that this video helped. Make sure that you guys review our last videos, leave some comments, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys. And holla, holla, or deuces.
Yeah, whatever.
Deuces.